John Bolton criticizes Trump's tariff agenda as economic illiteracy in CNN interview. In a recent interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper, former National Security Advisor John Bolton sharply criticized President Donald Trump's tariff policies, calling them economic illiteracy and warning that they could have long-term negative consequences for the U.S. economy. Bolton, who served as National Security Advisor from 2018 to 2019, has been an outspoken critic of Trump's approach to foreign policy, and in this interview, he continued to challenge the president's trade strategy, especially with China. Tariff strategy under fire. Bolton's criticism of Trump's tariff agenda comes amid ongoing trade tensions between the U.S. and China. Trump has long advocated for imposing high tariffs on Chinese goods, arguing that this would force China to change its trade practices, particularly with regard to intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers. However, Bolton expressed concerns that this aggressive approach, which included tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars of Chinese imports, could be more harmful than beneficial to the U.S. "I think it's economic illiteracy," Bolton said when discussing Trump's tariff policies. "The idea that you can impose these tariffs and somehow, magically, the Chinese will change their economic behavior is just wrong." According to Bolton, the tariffs not only hurt American consumers, but also fail to address the core issues in the U.S.-China trade relationship: the need for tougher negotiations. Instead of relying on tariffs, Bolton argued that the U.S. should engage in tougher, more strategic negotiations with China. He suggested that trade negotiations should focus on meaningful, long-term structural changes to China's trade practices rather than short-term punitive measures like tariffs. Bolton emphasized that while tariffs might bring some temporary leverage, they do not provide a lasting solution to the deeper issues in U.S.-China trade relations. "What we need is a strong, tough approach to negotiation with China that's not based on tariffs, but based on real economic strategy that will produce results," Bolton said. He urged the U.S. to take a more thoughtful and coordinated approach, possibly through multilateral efforts that involve allies like the European Union and Japan, to confront China's trade practices in a unified manner. Consequences for the U.S. economy. Bolton was also concerned about the economic fallout from Trump's tariff policies, particularly for American businesses and consumers. He pointed out that tariffs on Chinese imports led to higher prices for American goods and could disrupt global supply chains. While the Trump administration insisted that China would bear the brunt of the costs, Bolton argued that U.S. consumers were the ones who ended up paying the price. American businesses are already feeling the pain, they're paying the tariffs, and ultimately it's the consumers who get hit, he explained. Bolton also highlighted that the trade war had exacerbated uncertainty in the global market, making it harder for U.S. companies to plan for the future. The role of China in global trade. Bolton did not dismiss the threat posed by China's rise as a global economic power, but called for more sophisticated policies to counter it. He acknowledged that China's trade practices, including intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers, need to be addressed, but argued that tariffs alone would not solve these issues. Instead, he called for a more comprehensive strategy focusing on international cooperation and a coordinated effort with other countries to hold China accountable, looking forward. As tensions between the U.S. and China continue to shape global trade, Bolton's critique offers a stark contrast to the Trump administration's strategy. His calls for more strategic, well-thought-out negotiations with China reflect a belief that the U.S. needs to play the long game rather than relying on short-term measures that could damage both American businesses and global economic stability. Bolton's commentary adds to the growing debate about the effectiveness of Trump's trade policies. While some support the idea of using tariffs as leverage, others, like Bolton, believe that a more nuanced, collaborative approach is necessary to address the root causes of the trade imbalances and ensure that American interests are protected on the global stage. As the U.S.-China trade war continues to unfold, the conversation around tariffs and trade negotiations remains a central issue, with experts like Bolton urging a rethink of the current approach. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.